Pass ball is going to allow runners to advance. Second pitch to Shadle, check swing, gets a called strike on the outside. Ty Goodson, the starting pitcher for the Patriots. Down the middle. Goodson and White, followed by across the outfield, Redmond, McCoy, Hester, Harris, Lagoni, Grabowski, and Richter. On defense, behind the starting pitcher. The 2-1. Swing and a miss, 2-2. Shadle goes down swinging. Runners in scoring position on second and third. Costello with the leadoff hit on the left side, followed by Cusick with a forced bunt. Beats out the throw before Goodson can come up with it cleanly on the left side, shallow infield. Anthony Jones now steps in for his turn. First pitch just above the knuckles as he bends back to stay out of the way. 1 out, 2 on. Apologies for the audio. Hopefully we're live now. It seems like in the live chat we're hearing from everybody. About 40 people following us. Watch that second pitch to Anthony Jones become a called strike. 1 ball, 1 strike, 1 out, and runners on second and third. We're in the bottom of the first inning here at Louisburg College in Louisburg, North Carolina. Foul tip. Jones pops it up. Right side. Under it is Richter at first. Takes it in foul territory. 2 outs. Stephen Kreiner now will step in for his first trip to the plate with James Green in the on-deck circle behind him. Line drive, center field, straight into the glove of Carson McCoy. Two hits, no runs, 2 left on after 1 inning. On a line out by Kreiner, will bring up at the bottom of the second, Green, Modric, and Dunn. Weather forecast here at Frazier Field in Louisburg, North Carolina, low 70s, low double-digit winds coming out of the southwest, upwards of 16 miles an hour, very low humidity at about 31%. With 0 chance of rain in the forecast. Should be a beautiful day for the doubleheader of a 3-game set. Tomorrow's game, 3, will be right here again at Frazier Field. While today's doubleheader scheduled for 1 and 4. Casey Colbreth, the starting pitcher here, has 4 starts with a 2-1 win-loss record, a 1.723 ERA with 16 strikeouts. He's a Winthrop commit. Last summer, taking his American Legion team to the North Carolina State Championship. So far this season, 15.2 innings pitched with an opposing batting average of just 190. Walks and hits over the 15.2 innings pitched to 1.404, and a very impressive conversion rate of first pitch strikes to strikeouts at just shy of 80%. Ty Lagoni takes a first pitch called strike and has an 80% chance of striking out. Swing and a miss. Lagoni at a 205 batting average. Goes down swinging for the first out. Andrew Harris now, the designated hitter for Ty Goodson in the lineup. Aiden Dunlop is on deck. Colbreth's first pitch, low and away to Harris. Harris, conversely, with a 350 batting average, has 9 RBIs, swing and a miss, 1-1. Soft into the glove of Costello, presumably a changeup. 2-1 with 1 out, nobody on. Lower outside corner. Defense, Jones, Cusick, Daniels, and Dunn on the infield. Green, Kreiner, and Shadle across the outfield. The 3-2 payoff pitch, hard chopper. Cusick across, 6-1. Or 6-3, my apologies for the second out. Aiden Dunlop now steps in. He's the third baseman, donning number 20. Patriots in a interesting Carolina blue and yellow combination, while the Hurricanes with their all whites. Home plate umpire for today's game and crew chief Bobby Vaughn, with Justin Edwards making the infield calls. A moment ago getting the referral and saying the check swing was indeed a strike. Home plate umpire Bobby Vaughn not going to call that one. The 1-2 just misses, low and away again. Dunlop tosses the bat and gets a called strike. Full count now with 2 outs and nobody on. Dunlop, the 7th batter in the lineup. He's batting 139. And fouls off the payoff pitch for a reset. Dunlop, a red-shirted sophomore, has appeared in 13 games so far this season with 36 at-bats, has 7 runs on 5 hits, 3 doubles. Apologies for the audio issues in the first inning. The payoff pitch, swing and a miss in the dirt. Costello picks it up and gets the tag on the runner, or on the batter, apologies, on Dunlop. 3 up, 3 down for Casey Colbreth and the Hurricanes, as we're in the middle of the second inning here at Frazier Field.
Louder? I'm maxing them out. I thought that too. They didn't sound loud. I don't know why. I got it maxed all the way out though.
So the Hurricanes outpaced the Patriots in the first inning, getting through the top 5 in their lineup. Coming up right now will be James Green, followed by Jake Modrak and Jace Dunn. Conversely, the Patriots made it through the top 4 in their lineup in the first inning, in the top of the second, 1, 2, 3. Pickering, Redmond, and McCoy when the Patriots get back to the plate in the top of the third. But for now, as mentioned, James Green, the left fielder, number 42, is going to step in for the Hurricanes here momentarily. Ty Goodson still on the mound for the Patriots. Goodson, with 4 appearances with a single game start, has picked up 4 wins in those appearances so far. 20 and a third innings pitched with a 1.33 ERA. Has 19 strikeouts and an 8.41 strikeout per 9 innings pitched ratio. Not too bad. First pitch to Green, a fastball that slides away. Pickering behind the plate. Hard hit, line drive, center field.
Now up to bat, the designated hitter, number 14, Jake Modrak.
Justin Edwards is our crew chief. Umpires switched it up just before game start, is the report from the dugout. Bobby Vaughn on the infield. Ty Goodson, first offering to Jake Modrak. Misses outside. Modrak puts down the bunt. It's going to go foul. James Green down on first, with Jake Modrak at the plate. No outs, 1-1 count. High and inside from Goodson. Check swing is unfortunately the wrong call for that pitch as Justin Edwards rings up Jake Modric. 1 out and a runner on first.
Now up to bat, number 32, Jace Dunn.
Just past the knuckles of Jace Dunn, the first baseman. Pick off not in time over to first. So as mentioned, though missed in the opening, the Patriots are 2-0 in the conference with 11 games played, all but 2 at home. So kind of an interesting conundrum here is that the Patriots at the top of the leaderboard. Hard hit, left field. That ball is going to be out of here. Jace Dunn with the 2-run homer.
Now up to bat, Troy.
Troy Daniels at the plate, takes a first pitch out of the strike zone from Goodson. Fastball on the inside portion of the plate, 1-1. 1 out, 2 runs just scored on a 2 RBI homer by Jace Dunn. Interesting fact, before the start of today's game, of the 100 hits collectively that the Hurricanes have had, a little bit on the sparse side if I would be accurate, 13% of those have been home runs by the Hurricanes. Obviously not the way a team wants to score runs, but tells you right there the potential talent in this club does not reflect their record right now overall. 4-8 on the road, 1-3 at home, 2-3 in the conference, and 13% home run rate. Troy Daniels now with a 2-1 count and 1 out. Bases emptied a moment ago on a 2 RBI homer. And he gets rung up looking by Justin Edwards. So 2 looking strikes and 1 swinging so far for Goodson.
Now up to bat. Now up to bat, number 13, the catcher, Tewa Costello.
Costello singled to left field in his first at-bat, got stranded at third. And it seems the Hurricanes collectively keep check swinging on a called strike from Goodson. Costello holds tight as the next fastball skims just past his jersey at about a little over his belly button height. The 1-1, swing and a miss. Bit of a two-seam fastball Goodson seems to be working. That's dropping out right at the last second. 1 ball, 2 strikes, and 2 outs. 2-2. Breaking ball that stays low and away. Fills up the count now. Bottom of the second inning. Payoff pitch. Cuffed. And it drops in right field. Costello, 2 for 2 now on the day. He certainly is a battling opponent when he's in the box that every team has to look out
Now
for.
to bat the shortstop, number 1, Colin Kusick.
Kusick with the excellently executed bunt on the third base side of the infield in his first at-bat. Was able to get Costello to second. Costello takes off with the big jump. He will beat out the throw very comfortably. Another stolen base for Teo Costello. 2 out and a runner on second. Louisburg first to strike with a 2-run homer by Jace Dunn a few moments ago. Cusick looks at a high fastball, 2-0. Goodson comes set, and the 2-1. Low and away, Pickering reaches across, backhands it just above the dirt. Bobby Vaughn on the infield with his arms crossed. There he goes, gets set as our infield umpire with Justin Edwards as the crew chief. The 2-1. And Justin Edwards steps away, says, oh, that's a pitch clock violation, and Kusick is going to get a free ride down to first base. I guess that goes in the scorebook as maybe PV,
Now to bat
pitch count,
number
pitch
30,
clock, PCV.
Kenny Shadle.
Somebody let me know in the live chat. We have about 60 people watching right now. Appreciate you following along. We'll record that as a PCV, pitch clock violation. Swing and a miss by the right fielder, Kenny Shadle. He went down looking in his first at-bat. The 4-2 player that Shadle is comes to Louisburg a couple of years ago out of Georgia Tech. Tons of potential from this young man right here. Skies that one well out of play. The 0-2, high and away. And as good as Goodson has been doing this season, he is actually not the best pitcher by statistics on the Patriots. Second baseman Dylan Grabowski, slightly more innings pitched, has a slightly better ERA. I'm sure we'll see him, if not in game 2, possibly game 3. Two with 2 on. Check swing. And it seems like Kenny Shadle is going to stay alive. No called strike, not hit by the pitch, but about as close to threading a needle as possible between a combination of Goodson and Shadle. Putting the ball high and tight, and Shadle somehow getting away from it just enough, but it literally looked like it went right through the triangle of his hands and arms. Hard hit, but foul, out of play. If all goes well, in a few moments, we'll see if we can get the Hall of Fame Louisburg head coach, Mr. Russell Frazier, to join us on the air. He's just outside the door here at Frazier Field. The 2-2. Pickering tries to frame it back for Goodson, but unable to convince Justin Edwards. And that'll fill up the count. The payoff pitch. And Goodson loses Shadle to a walk. Base is loaded now
coming up to bat,
as Anthony Jones steps up.
number 10, Anthony Jones.
Jones with the pop out in foul territory to the first baseman in his first at bat. And it looks like we're going to get a little bit of a break as presumably head coach Brandon Nania, apologies to head coach there of the Patriots, comes out for a mound visit, try to break the downward spiral that Goodson seems to be in. Assistant coaches for the Patriots, Hunter Steele, Mason Gray, and Matt Duffy make up the staff. Up in Martinsville, Virginia, the Patriots call home to Hooker Field, otherwise now affectionately referred to as Lou Whitaker Park, who played for the Detroit Tigers from 77 to 95.
Coming up to bat, number 10,
He also
Anthony
plays host
Jones.
to the Martinsville Mustangs, which are part of the Coastal Lane League. First pitch to Anthony Jones, a called strike. For all the NASCAR fans, you're familiar with the Martinsville racetrack that's up there. About a 2.5-hour drive from Louisburg. Justin Edwards calls that one on the outside corner. 0-2 now to the third baseman, Anthony Jones. Bases loaded, 2 outs. There's already been a 2-run homer in this inning. Goodson deals. And a swing and a miss. And he gets out of it. Three hits, 2 runs, and 3 left on. After the bottom of the second inning, the Hurricanes up by 2. About to start the top of the third inning here at Frazier Field. But when the Hurricanes come back to the plate, it will be Kreiner, Green, and Modric. Right now, Casey Colbreth, however, is back out on the bump for the Hurricanes. He'll face off against Ethan Pickering, followed by Bryson Redmond, and back to the top of the lineup, Carson McCoy. Colbreth with 1 strikeout has only given up 1 hit on 6 batters. Coach, whenever you're ready, sir.
Okay, you need him too?
Is that Mr. Harris?
No, it's Scott Davis.
Or Scott Davis. I'm getting names all messed up. Either or, I got 1 headset.
Hey guys. What are we doing?
We're not on camera, but we're on microphone in a moment.
You just let him go. I'm just sitting here and watching.
I'll bring you in a second. All right.
Wow.
Hey, man. How's it going?
Good, sir. How about you?
First pitch to Ethan Pickering, a high fly ball out of frame on the left side. To start off the top of the third inning here at Frazier Field, standing right beside me in the booth is the one and only Coach Russell Frazier. Thanks for joining us, sir. We got your mic live right now so you can talk to the listeners. Pleasure to have you on the broadcast with us. Kind of new for this season, adding some commentary and play-by-play. And Ethan Pickering goes down on a called strike, looking the first for Casey Colbreth this afternoon.
But anyway, this I try to catch these guys as much as I can.
Now we should be good for you, sir.
Oh, okay.
My apologies. You were just saying you try to come out and catch the home games as much as possible.
Catch them as much as I can. Yeah, I enjoy it and watching them play, and it's been good.
Bryson Redmond is the left fielder for the Patriots. He just looked at 2 strikes from Colbreth, and Colbreth has an 80% conversion rate on a first pitch called strike. Just a slight advantage for the starting pitcher, sophomore Winthrop commit. I imagine in your years here at Louisburg College, you must have sent many a young man on D1, and the infield ground ball will be beat out by Bryson Redmond as it slowly rolls before the starting pitcher touches it.
But anyway, yeah, a bunch of our kids used to go from here to NC State especially, and Carolina, Clemson, you name it. They've been to all of them. I know back in the 70s, I had 5 kids on the team got drafted, and more than anybody in the state. And they all could fly. Anyway, that year we were playing in the district to go to California, playing a team out of Mississippi.
Pickoff not in time.
And I had this kid named Chad Fonville who could fly. So the coach said he told his catcher, if he's still second, you throw to third, we're going to hold him to second. So he couldn't throw. He said, we can't throw him around.
Right now, Casey Colbreth is trying to hold Bryson Redmond tightly at first. Fly ball, right side, going to be just along the line, and Troy Daniels calls off Jace Dunn to take it right on the first base, right field line for a first out. That was Carson McCoy in his second at bat. 2 outs right now with a runner on first. Coach, what year do you remember your first competition against Patrick and Henry? Were they in the division during your days of coaching?
No, they weren't. When I was coaching, they weren't in the division. No.
Who do you remember were your most familiar adversaries on a yearly basis?
Oh, like Ferrum College, up in Virginia. I know Hal Berry was up there. He went on to coach at Auburn for a long time. And they were probably the toughest thing we had to face.
Back in those days, the conference was a lot different by landscape than it is today. Right?
Entirely different. When I came here, I coached here for 40 years, but when I first came here, they were playing like 12 games a year.
Hayden Hester just grounded through the left side of the infield for a base hit.
And they had about 12 guys on the team, and most of them were preachers. They had a school here at that time. None of them could play baseball at all. So,
A different era.
it was different. But after about 3 years, we got, we could compete with a lot of people.
Dylan Grabowski is the batter in the box right now. He's the second baseman. He had a fielder's choice in his first at bat. And he looks at a second called strike.
But one of the teams for the district championship came out of Tennessee, Columbia State. They were tough. And I remember we first built this field, we didn't have water here or anything, no restroom. So one of the big guys, they were both arrogant fans you ever want to see. So one of them asked me, the big guy, I said, Coach, where in the hell is your bathroom? I said, well, you want to go first class, second class? He said, we always go first class. I said, well, first class is that big pond, second class is that little oak. He started cussing and walked off.
Grabowski and Colbreth now are in a battle on 0-2. There have been 4 pitches total. Mano a mano right now between the two ace pitchers. Grabowski, while he started the game at second, as I mentioned before I brought you in, Coach, you didn't hear this, but Grabowski actually is the ace pitcher for the Patriots. Presumably he'll be on the start of game 2 or at the least game 3. And the 0-2 in a moment here with 2 out and 2 on in the top of the third, just a bit low and away.
We've got one kid now in the Major League. He's a center fielder for the Orioles, Cedric Mullins. And he's a good little player. Leadership. Great steward.
Swing and a miss, drop third strike. And down to first. Costello will get the put out.
54 plate appearances.
1 hit, 2 left on. As Grabowski goes down swinging effectively in the top of the third. And when the Patriots come back to the plate, Richter, Lagoni, and Harris will be coming up. Coach Russell Frazier on the mic in the booth with me. Bill Martone here today at Frazier Field, named after yourself, sir, and based on your record and Hall of Fame status for the Junior College Association, obviously well deserved. How many years total did you coach here at Louisburg College?
40 years.
40 years. I don't think most people have that ability to claim they worked 40 years at any job.
Well, if I had to start now the way college baseball is, I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't do it. I just think this transfer portal stuff has ruined college baseball, basketball, football. It's whoever got the most money. Now they're buying players now instead of.
Yeah, it's a common criticism among others I think most college sports fans have. It's starting to become more a business than it is a recreation and a competition.
You're right. That's
But
it.
somewhat the sign of the times with every industry, I guess. I know, though, there's probably right now, out of the 69 people that are watching, we know there's at least one gentleman by the name of Nate who says hello, but we get a lot of alum that check in on the live chat, and they'll drop us notes, and they'll say, tell Coach Frazier, so-and-so from this year said hello. So I'll try to make it a point to get those comments passed on to you if possible.
Well, thank you very much. That's nice.
Right now, Stephen Kreiner, the center fielder, is leading off the bottom of the third inning. He had a line out to the left center fielder in his first at-bat in the first inning. And James Green is on deck. Popped up, shallow center field. Under it's McCoy. And so 2 hits by Kreiner right to McCoy. I'd imagine as a batter, that's a little bit annoying when you go right back to the same positional player 2 times in a row. James Green, the left fielder,
Number 42, the left fielder, James Green.
had a hard hit line drive into the outfield in his first at bat. He reached and eventually scored on a home run by Jace Dunn in the second inning. I was telling a stat a little bit before you came in that of the 100 hits, and I say only 100 hits so far by the Hurricanes, 13 of those have been home runs. So a 13% home run rate. Fly ball, center field, McCoy back to the track, over his left side, and he runs into the wall. James Green cruises around second base, and he's going to look to stretch it into third, and he makes it head first. Bobby Vaughn with the call in the infield, and James Green with a triple to deep center field. Not an easy feat, considering the height of that fence out there has been elevated, considered the shortened depth of center field. And James Green took advantage of his God-given talents and rounded second and did not look back. Head first dive into third base.
Hitter, number 14,
Jake Modrak now an opportunity for an RBI.
Now they're playing 2 7 innings. Is that right today?
That's a great point. I assumed it was a 9-7 doubleheader. Chopper on the left side. Green is going to try to score. He will. And a sacrifice ground ball on the infield.
I thought they played maybe 2 7s the first day. The second day they played a 9-inning game, but I might be wrong. They may play a 9 and 7. These guys might not. Are they playing a 9 and 7 today?
Played 2 7s, I think. It's a doubleheader.
Well, so far this season, doubleheaders have been 9-7s.
9 and 7.
9-7.
So we will see a 9-inning game here for game 1, followed by game 2 at 4 o'clock scheduled start, plus or minus, depending on when this game finishes. Oh! Jace Dunn commits the cardinal sin, leaving that bat up as the pitch sails over his right shoulder and intersects the barrel for a foul ball. That could have been to his advantage. The 1-1, swing and a miss on a breaking ball, low and away. 2 outs, 1 run scored a moment ago. James Green with a triple, followed by a fielder's choice infield sacrifice. Reaches, slaps it to the left side. Third baseman across, Aiden Dunlop, and they end up picking it up across the infield. Talking with Coach Frazier here, live from behind the backstop on the Louisburg Sports Network, coming to you across the internet to YouTube, on the school's YouTube channel, getting a little bit of a history lesson and some insight onto what made Coach Russell Frazier a Hall of Fame coach, 40 years worth of coaching. How many championship seasons, Coach, off the top of your head, if you remember? I see a ring that seems to resemble at least one.
Oh, yeah, that's the Hall of Fame ring.
Hall of Fame ring?
Yeah. I don't know. We had a bunch of championship games. I can't remember.
A couple of winning seasons.
Yeah.
Nothing to brag about.
We had a couple.
So Jace Dunn made the 3rd out. That'll leave Troy Daniels, Taya Costello, and Colin Kusick coming up to bat for the Hurricanes when we start the bottom of the 4th inning.
I'll tell you. I'll see you. Call me. Call me.
Anyway, this other guy, Scott Davis, he played for me. A hell of a player. Went on to play the NC State. So
We're going to get Mr. Harris on the mic here shortly, and I'll let you go so you can go get a seat in the sun if you want.
Well, I'll go out there, but you shouldn't get him because he's a heck of a player.
We'll absolutely talk with Mr. Harris. Coach Frazier, it's a pleasure meeting you. The first time that I've had that opportunity after you've sat outside a couple of times. Someday we'll get a camera on ourselves here, and we'll get you back on the mic and the camera simultaneously.
That'd be great.
All right, sir. Thank you.
Yeah, I'll do it.
Golfed low and inside. Foul down the right side is Caden Richter, the first baseman. have this uncanny ability to remember names wrong.
There you
The
go.
1-1 from Casey Colbreth. Scott Davis standing next to me. He's about to put the headset on. Jace Dunn with the diving out of frame, takes it deep in the hole behind first base, comes up with it, and dives into first base. So we just heard from Coach Russell Frazier a few moments ago. Last week, well, I shouldn't say last week, 2.5 weeks ago, or almost 3 weeks ago, we had another alum of Louisburg in the booth with us, Mr. Ricky, trying to remember Ricky's name. Sorry, sir, you were here. I got a Ricky Cook in the booth with me, and I'm trying to remember the other alum who stood here with me for 9 innings. But right now we got Scott Davis. He's prior player and alum from the 84-85 team, swing and a miss for Sticks. That is Ty Lagoni, the shortstop. Scott, thanks for jumping on. We're trying to get as many alum to come in and visit with us while we get the broadcast out to the viewing public. Right now we have about 68 people. We usually sitting around the 50 to 75. We've been upwards of 90 people that'll tune in.
Great.
So we get a good crowd here watching the broadcast. And we've only really had 3 home games prior to today in the 2.5, well, a little less than 2.5, more than 2.5. But
Right.
so a 5-3 ends that inning there. Trying to keep a book while I'm talking and entertaining at the same time is not an easy feat. But Richter, Lagoni, and Harris go 1, 2, 3. Oh, sorry. 1-2. Still got a third to go. I'm getting ahead of myself. And a big 12-6 from Casey Colbreth. Andrew Harris, the DH, with 2 out and nobody on. And he swings and misses at a breaking ball that just drops out. Scott, what was your position? Were you a pitcher? Were you a two-way player?
Well, no, I played my first year here. I played third base, and that was 1984, and we were absolutely loaded that year. I played third base. We had Tank Harden here who caught, and Dobie Swepson played shortstop. Jimmy Caldwell was in the out. We were just loaded from top to bottom those 2 years. So
The 1-2?
I played a lot of shortstop as well, but primarily third base.
On the run, Kenny Shadle over his shoulder makes it a 3rd out, and Colbreth and the Hurricanes take down the Patriots. Another 1-2-3 inning. Go ahead, sir. Sorry about that.
Yeah, I was just informing, the position there and some of the other guys that we played with. We had a kid named Nat Norris, and he was a center fielder, could absolutely fly. And many other great players that played here in those 2 years.
Well, we might have Nat in here with us.
Is Nat on?
It very possibly. He dropped it. There's an RN who chimed in, so tell Coach that Nat said hello.
Yeah.
So that might be the Nat you're talking about.
That's him, absolutely, yeah. So we had a lot of great guys. Coach Frazier back in the 80s, and of course he was here 40 years from 59 to 99. And many phenomenal ball clubs that came through here before my time, and of course after my time as well. So it was such a fun time playing here. I always try to come back at least once or twice a year, and my son also played here. So it's really good to get back and see Blake and see the facility and see Coach Frazier.
How has the facility changed the most since your days in the mid-'80s? What's different here, and then even when your son was here, what's evolved?
It's gotten a lot nicer. Blake spends a ton of time, obviously, here. I remember Coach Frazier would be dragging the field with a Farmall tractor out here, and of course it's gotten a little bit more advanced now, and we got a little smaller scoreboard, but the field is nicer. The fencing is of course more advanced. The facility looks really good, really nice.
Yeah, it is beautiful for a junior college. I think every player and the families of the players always enjoy themselves in attendance. We got some stadium seating right below our broadcast booth here that are very comfortable, and then of course the cheaper seats off to the side, the standard bleachers for the overflow. We've usually been getting about anywhere between 50 to 100 people
Now,
so
coming
far
up
in
to
the
bat,
early
the
season. It was
second
early
baseman,
February.
number 8,
We had Pitt Community College here with
Daniels.
easily 100 spectators. Troy Daniels steps in for the second time. He went down looking in his first at-bat in the second inning. And he cuffs one into left field on the first pitch. Leadoff single. Biggest memory as a player out here on Frazier Field?
Just playing with so many phenomenal players. I mean, I was telling these young kids here earlier, we
Now,
had
coming up to
most
bat,
every
pitcher
kid
number
that we had that
13,
wanted to play Division I from those two teams. And we had a lot of great players. Greg Browley, of course, played with us. He went on to play with the Mariners for 10 years. And he went on to play at NC State with me. And just so many phenomenal players. Jimmy Caldwell played here with us. He was a tremendous player. Of course, Tank Harden, who's got the home run record here. Those years were phenomenal years. Some of the best years of my life coming here when Frazier recruited me out of High Point in the early 80s. It was the best decision I ever made coming to Louisburg with so many relationships and friendships. And I still keep in touch with Coach Frazier today, him and his wife Clara, of course, and Blake. I was a high school coach for many years in High Point. And so, yeah, I still like to stay in touch with the game and so many great memories I have here playing for Coach Frazier.
Ty Costello at the plate. He's the catcher. He's 2 for 2 on the day with 2 singles and a stolen base. Leads off the batting order today. He is a commit to the University of Arkansas Pine Bluff. Thank you, sir. I always forget that tagline at the end. So you mentioned a bunch of your players, your teammates. Thank you. Drawing a blank as I'm thinking about the game here simultaneously. And Louisburg has that reputation historically for sending any number of players off to high levels of baseball, including not only collegiate hard hit. 4-6-3 gets the double play. Yourself going on to play at NC State, how many years did you get to put on the diamond as a Wolf?
Well, I played here 84, 85, and then signed and played NC State and played 2 years up there, 86 and 87. And we had 2 really fantastic clubs who won the regular season both years I was there. Jim McNamara was our catcher. He played for the Giants. And Tracy Woodson was there a year or so before I got there, and Briley, of course, played second base for us, and we played for Coach Esposito, and who retired and coached up there for 30 years. And so, yeah, that was great memories for me to play for the Wolfpack up there. And Elliot Avent, who's the head coach at NC State, was the assistant here when I was here. So I've known Elliot for 40 years and sent a lot of players to play at NC State when I coached high school baseball. And so, yeah, the memories here are tremendous, and I always try to come back and give back and talk to Blake and Coach Frazier and these guys, and just to see the progress that we're making. And any young kid in North Carolina that wants to play baseball, this would be a phenomenal place to play. My son played here. I sent him down here to play, and he was a pitcher. But just great memories here for all the people and the administration and the education that I was able to get. And so I was very pleased to go to Louisburg.
Excellent. My son's been on the team now only since the beginning of last year. He's a true freshman. I would echo, in just the small amount of time he's been here, our experience with Coach Herring as well. As soon as we had the visit, it was a no-brainer.
Yeah.
And while we went and talked with even some higher level 4-year schools, Coach Herring just resonated. The sense of community and family, and not to say those don't exist at other organizations and other schools, but there was just something out of those that we had the opportunity to talk with that left us convinced that it was the best place for our son. Colin Cusick with a hard line drive through the middle infield, and he now is 2 for 3 with a pitch clock violation, so not an out, but I don't think that records as a hit. That's his second, though, on the day.
Number 30.
Well, I
Kenny
tell
Shea.
players all the time, you know, when Coach Frazier recruited me out of High Point, you know, when I made the decision to come to school here, you know, in those years, little do you know the impact that coaches and teammates will have on your future. And as we get older, we realize the importance of those things.
You're showing Colbreth as the pitcher on
you know,
that
I
one
just
score.
got off the phone with Nat Norris a while ago. He called and heard that I was in the booth, and I see Nat on occasion. He lives in our area, so those are things that really, really are important to me. And I tell all these young kids to cherish these times because they're meaningful, and as you get older, they'll become more meaningful.
Colin Cusick now with a stolen base. He had a huge jump on a combination of Goodson and Pickering. Goodson sitting at about 77 pitches has to be tiring, and there's a little bit of activity in the bullpen on the left field side for the Patriots. A swing and a miss on a breaking ball. Kenny Shadle at the plate. He has a strikeout and a walk in his 2 at-bats. He has 2 outs and a runner on second. We are in the bottom of the 4th inning. Scott Davis here in the booth with us. An alum from 84-85 giving us some feedback on his experiences and memories here, not only on Frazier Field, but at Louisburg College as a student in his first 2 years of collegiate baseball and education. And then going on to NC State. Your son, what year did your son then come back to play here at Louisburg?
My son played here 18 and 19 was his 2 years, and he went on to pitch at App State after that. So he was went from here to Boone.
Hard hit, fly ball, right center field. Going back is McCoy and Hester, and Kenny Shadle reaches the outfield fence and then some for a 2-run homer. Kenny Shadle with the second home run of the day. And the celebratory boom as he makes it back to the dugout. Scott, when you were playing here as an active player, what was the culture for celebrating a home run, if you can remember?
Well,
Was it even permissible?
there was no celebrations with Coach Frazier.
Now,
It was,
coming up
you
to
know,
bat,
he'd been there
number
before.
10,
The
Anthony
next guy
Jones.
up would be there with the bat. He'd give you a 5 or whatever, and then everybody else was pretty much close to the dugout. But there was not much celebration. Coach Frazier was really big on act like you've been there before, and so. But we hit a bunch of homers. I mean, the teams I was on, I think, you know, we had every starter in the lineup with maybe a couple hit double-digit homers. So we hit the ball at the ballpark with regularity here. So Coach Frazier didn't allow a whole lot of extracurricular celebration, but we of course enjoyed it when we did.
Swing and a miss for Anthony Jones. He's the third baseman. Started the season at first. It's where he's normally seen on defense, but has made a transition to the opposite side of the infield. Jones with a fly out in foul territory to the first baseman in the first inning, followed by a strikeout in the second inning. He has 2 outs with a 3-1 count, and the bases cleared up by Kenny Shadle a few moments ago. I mentioned to Coach Frazier in our audience earlier, called strike, 3-2, full count. The Hurricanes are organizing, to use a hurricane terminology, off the coast here in the early season, kind of becoming, going from a tropical depression to a storm, and now they're about to become a true organized hurricane. They only had 100 hits coming into this game so far this season. However, 13% of those have been home runs. So I know Coach Herring has mentioned to the kids after winning a 3-2 on 3 homers in Catawba Valley last Sunday. That's not a way to count on winning games, but they are seemingly capable of putting the ball over the fence by any number of players.
Well, when you play here, that's an advantage. And of course, Blake, I'm sure, recruits guys that can hit the ball out of the ballpark. But if you're an opposing team coming in here, you better have a pitcher that can keep the ball down. And if you don't, and especially a day like today when the ball's obviously flying, the kid that just hit the ball to right center there kind of missed that ball, and it went out of here. So today's a day when the ball's flying, and I've got to have a guy on the bump just below the knees, because anything up has a chance to go out of here at any level.
So Goodson, the starting pitcher, it looks like he'll be retired with 85 pitches. Has given up 5 runs on 9 hits, with a couple of those being the home run ball that the Hurricanes have been putting up on the board. Scott Davis on the mic with me here at Frazier Field as we watch the Hurricanes hosting Patrick and Henry Community College Patriots for game 1 of 3 game homestand set in only their 4th home game of the early portion of the season. They've been on the road for 2.5 solid weeks.
Wow.
You know, on the bus, overnight in a hotel. I don't know if back in the day there was how much travel there was in your time in the early to mid 80s and compared to today. But as I understand it, 4 players to a room. You better be on your best behavior because you're sharing a bed that's probably not that comfortable.
Yeah, we didn't, you know, there's a lot more schools today than when I played here. You know, back in the 80s, you know, Louisburg was as popular to play as NC State, East Carolina was. So there was no community colleges. So, you know, we competed against NC State, Carolina, Wake Forest in the fall. And so there wasn't a whole lot of overnights. We would go out and come back. You know, of course, in the regionals we would travel and that kind of thing. And of course we would shack up there with a bunch of kids and try to save money. But those were the fun times too. We loved it as kids and we complained about it, but looking back on it, they were some of the funnest times we've ever had.
Yeah, I just saw on social media one of the influencers, if you want to call them that, you know, or probably somebody also who spent a couple of years in JUCO said, enjoy these 2 years. They're going to be the best peanut butter and jelly sandwiches you've ever had. That's right. And there'll be a lot of them and some tagline to it.
Yeah, that's the older you get, the more precious they are. And I think anybody that's listening that's played here would agree with that for sure, especially when you come down here and see Coach Frazier that believed in you when you were 16 to bring you here.
Carson Daniel on the bump as the first reliever for the Patriots with a first pitch to Steven Kreiner, breaking ball that sits up. True freshman is Carson Daniel. He's had 3 appearances and has no ERA at this point. 6 strikeouts on 4 1/3 innings pitched. So I mentioned, and it did not make it to live broadcast via audio at the beginning, though, in my opening monologue, really kind of questioning, you know, the Patriots' record. They're sitting at the top of the leaderboard for the West D2 West Conference in Region 10, but is it really deserved? You know, 2 conference games only, and all but 2 games have been at home on your home field. And, you know, you're playing some questionable preseason, early season competition out of Pennsylvania. You know, I don't know that it's a true reflection of their standing. We'll see, though, as the season plays on, but it's tough to make a true judgment. Yeah, they do have, however, some very athletic and capable players. That's not to take away from them, at least in the top 6 spots, 6 players out of the top 7 spots of their lineups for the last 3. They're batting at least 300 or above, with 3 of them above 400. So they're capable. That's not to give them or not give them the credit they deserve in that regard. 2 on, 2 out. We're still in the bottom of the 4th inning.
Well, this is the time of year that both coaches, I'm sure, is trying to find out who they've got. You know, how can we utilize what we've got offensively and defensively? They're not looking at the standings. They're not looking at the you know, who's batting what. They're just trying to figure out what they can do to get better every week. And you know, if you're a coach on either side, you're trying to figure out who can drive in a key run, who can get me a critical walk when I need to, what pitchers can keep the ball down, keep it in play, who's missing signals, who's not missing signals, are we hitting the cutoff man, what are we doing right? and then you build from that week to week to week, and then as you get in mid-season, you're ready to make a stretch run, and I think both coaches are in the same boat.
James Green on the opposite side of the batter's box right now. He tripled in his last at-bat. Long line drive against the wall in center field as Carson McCoy ran out of real estate and literally just ran right into the wall. And Green was rounding second. He just put on the afterburners and went head first into third, and this was his last at-bat. Now he puts a fly ball into right. Hayden Hester backs up to the track and gets under it, and that'll be 3. A long fourth inning for the Patriots as they gave up another 2 runs. And the Hurricanes leave 2 on, but not before putting 2 across the plate. Scott Davis in the booth with me. We're getting a little bit of a history lesson from Coach Frazier before you, and now yourself speaking on behalf of you and even your son. Maybe I don't know where he is in the area. If he's ever home to visit, please send him up for a game. I'd love to have him on. It would be great to have 2 generations of Louisburg baseball players
Absolutely.
giving us their insight. What have you gone on to do after your days of playing here and then at State? Did you stay in the area? Have you come back home?
I'm from the Triad area, up in High Point, Greensboro, Winston-Salem. I got in the furniture business right out of school, and was continued to be in that industry. I own a furniture manufacturing company up in High Point, and also I'm in the leather furniture business. So I've been in the furniture business ever since I've got out of college, and it's been really good to us. And so my son's actively involved with me now, running one of my facilities. So I got in the furniture business right out of school and stayed in it.
Nice. James Green flied out to the right fielder, Hayden Hester, a few moments ago. And when the Hurricanes come back to the plate in the bottom of the 5th inning, it'll be Jake Modrak, Jace Dunn, and Troy Daniels. Patriots are struggling to stay prepared for a brewing storm of the Louisburg College Hurricanes as they're in a 5-run deficit at Frazier Field, getting a test of their storm preparedness. Trying to do some play on words. It's coming out a little corny though, but
Sounds good. Sounds really good.
back to live action. Just over the glove of Casey Colbreth. Troy Daniels with the scoop.
Nice play.
And a 4-3 to start the inning. And Daniels, who growing up, typically a middle infielder on the opposite side, playing short, in the fall did a lot of reps at third in fall ball. And now, as things have just been evolving and Coach Herring is making some adjustments, Troy Daniels finding a home at second.
Yeah, that's what I was referring to earlier. I mean, when you've got a team, you've got to evaluate. You're going to be looking at multiple situations and guys that can be versatile and play a number of positions, and that makes you valuable. And I'm sure Coach Herring looks at that when he recruits guys. Is can a third baseman play first? Can a right fielder play left? Usually your middle infielders are kind of interchangeable there. It's not that big of a deal for a shortstop, especially in high school, to move over to second base in college, especially if you're trying to get, an offensive lineup in there.
A moment ago, Aiden Dunlop led off with a 4-3 out, and now this is Ethan Pickering, the catcher. He struck out looking in his first at-bat, and now he's got an unfavorable count. Oh, no, I take that back. I jinxed myself. He just drew the walk. And that was the first out of Casey Colbreth for the day. He's at 65 pitches and commits his first walk. That's a terrific track record.
Yeah, this guy's giving Coach Herring everything that he needs right now. He's throwing a 0 up there with 4 hits, which, in a doubleheader, especially a 9-inning doubleheader, if you can save your bullpen, that bodes well for you down the stretch, and especially in Game 2. So this kid's really done a good job.
Colbreth is an American Legion state champ last summer with, I believe it's Wayne Post 11. Anthony Jones over on third played for the Garner Nationals American Legion team, as did my son Simon. as did Troy Daniels.
Wow.
All three of them playing together last summer for the Gardner Nationals American Legion. So it's kind of a little bit of a novelty in this day and age to see kids grabbing a year or two of senior Legion ball called strike.
Well, I'll tell you, American Legion baseball has really taken a hit with the travel baseball circuit. I remember back in the 80s when I played, it was all your better players played American Legion baseball, and it was really, really, really good ball. And I'd like to see it make a comeback. We've got a nice little American Legion team up there where we're from, but Coach Frazier also recruited me out of American Legion. So I'm a big believer in Legion baseball for sure. That
was our experience last summer. My son doing some reps and innings on the mound. Strike three, swinging, and Bryson Redmond, the left fielder, goes down. And was so fortunate to grab the attention of Coach Tulloch and Coach Herring, and had an opportunity for Coach Herring to come out at Campbell University, his alum, after Louisburg himself. Well, I take that back, as he finished up his 4-year stint at Campbell. So he went home to take a look at my son pitching from that mound that he spent some time on as well, and from there it was history. So seems serendipitous.
Yeah, American Legion baseball was phenomenal. I remember in '82, we were playing Eastern Randolph in the state semifinals up in Thomasville, and Dobie Swepson was their captain and shortstop. And Dobie was probably the best player in the state at that level. He was from Southern Alamance, and I was a captain of Post 41, and he was a captain of his club. And he told me before the game, he says, "Coach Frazier's here to see you." He says, "I've already signed." He says, "You need to come to Louisburg." And of course, I was in awe because everybody knew Dobie. I mean, he was the best player in the state. Everybody wanted him, including all the ACC schools. And so I happened to have a great series, and Coach Frazier offered me after that series, and so I came down here with Dobie, and we just had 2 great years. But that was due to Legion baseball for sure.
Carson McCoy, the center fielder, he shows in Game Changer as 1-for-1. He had a fly out in his second at bat to Troy Daniels, and he swings and misses. So Colbreth doing yeoman's work as a starting pitcher, showing why he is really top of the depth chart for Coach Herring and the Louisburg College Hurricanes. Scott Davis in the booth with me, Bill Martone, as we bring you live action from behind the backstop in the broadcast booth of the Louisburg College Hurricanes baseball, taking on Patrick and Henry Community College Patriots in Game 1 of a 3-game homestand set here at Frazier Field. We'll be right back after the break. Really appreciate it.
Pretty cool.
Yeah,
Appreciate that.
You're helping break up the
Yeah,
monotony
as
of,
long as you want me to do it, that's fine.
yes, hang out as long as you want.
Yeah.
You can stay on, you can walk away.
No, it's good.
Whatever's good. You want to take some calls?
Yeah, whatever you want.
Do either of y'all need a water or anything?
I'll take one.
I'm good. I came prepared.
There's Gatorades in there too if you need.
I know this is the closest as a parent and never getting to play or beyond high school, as my son was coming up through travel and everything and into high school, I kind of was not coach material.
Yeah.
As much as I love to
Yeah.
consume coaching content, swinging mechanics, pitching mechanics.
Yeah.
I've learned long ago I don't try to coach him.
Yeah.
He knows far more than me by now.
Right.
But doing this, because I kind of worked in tech for 30 years,
Yeah.
has allowed me to kind of stay close to the game and
Oh,
him.
yeah. Exactly.
So it's been a fun kind of sidetrack of things. No money in it, of course. But
Yeah. Well, I mean,
But it is.
watching your kid play and following him around.
Oh, yeah.
I did that for 4 years with Luke here at App State. And it's very rewarding, for sure.
Yeah, and then of course it's fun to bring some of this to the families as well from a broadcast
Oh, yeah.
perspective that they otherwise wouldn't.
Well, Matt texted when you were on with Frazier a while ago. Matt texted me over there. He says, "I hear you're down there." He said, "Why didn't you call me?"
Now, coming up to the bat,
All right.
designated hitter, number 14, J. Modrag.
Scott Davis and Bill Martone in the booth here in Game 1 between the Patriots and the Hurricanes. Hurricanes leading by 5 after 4 innings, and that ball was hit hard, deep to left field. And yet,
Oh my God, it goes over. Oh my God, I thought he dropped it. I thought he dropped it. Not gonna
a
lie.
third home run here at Frazier Field today. Jake Modrak leads off the 5th inning. 1 pitch, 1 hit, and it is long gone over the left field wall. A 3rd home run so far in just 4 innings, because we have no outs, so we're not even going to consider it the 5th, even though we are in 5. Oops, lost our view. Justin Edwards behind the plate as our crew chief, with Bobby Vaughn on the infield. And as usual, they'll probably switch it up in game 2. We'll have about a 45 minute break between games, depending on when the first competition ends. 4 o'clock scheduled start for game 2, and we'll be back on the air live here from behind the backstop on the Louisburg Sports Network via YouTube. We'll have a new link that we bring the action to you from. It's in the description of today's game. If you're curious, where is it? How do I get to it? I stumbled into this. Try to poke your way around on YouTube. Look for this description of today's broadcast, and you'll see a link in there for the second broadcast later this afternoon. The Lady Hurricanes playing softball next door to us today. Not sure who they're hosting. I was talking with their broadcaster, and Bryant Stratton is being hosted over there. Scott, and Jay Stun gets plunked. When you were here in the mid-'80s, did they have women's sports? And if so, did they have softball? What was the reputation of the programs back in your day for the Lady Hurricanes?
Yeah, baseball dominated here, of course, with all the tradition that we had, and basketball was good. Enid Drake was the coach, and I remember Blue Edwards played here, and he went on to play at East Carolina and play for Utah Jazz. So we would all go, watch Blue play, but yeah, our men's basketball team was really good back in the day. Didn't have soccer, nothing like that, but we did have softball, and then of course men's and women's basketball.
Last year, the Lady Hurricanes softball team going on quite far in the postseason. I apologize to those players and their families. I should know what their record was, but they brought a lot of attention. And then this past fall, the football team then going on to the national championship. I think they lost, unfortunately, but still an accomplishment in its own right to have that degree of talent to take a junior college team to a national championship. So a lot of sports history here at Louisburg College in a variety of different fields of competitions, arenas, courts. A 2-2 count right now on Troy Daniels. He singled and struck out in his first 2 at-bats and hacks the next offering out of play. Carson Daniel on the mound. Troy Daniels with an apostrophe, well, not an apostrophe, but an S on the end at the plate. So Daniel versus Daniels. Freshman versus freshman. A little bit of a sinking fastball from Daniel, the pitcher. Doesn't quite get it and fills up the count. No outs and a runner on first. Jay Stun was hit by a pitch. Daniels reaches and drops that one into left field. Jay Stun will advance to second. And Troy Daniels is going to be 2 for 3 on the day.
Now, coming up to bat, number 13, the catcher, Teowa Costello.
Here's where you have to do some damage. I don't know where they are in the order. but-
Costello is at the plate. He's top of the order.
Okay, yeah, you've got first and second, no outs. You've got to score some runs here. Let's see how this
And he's
goes.
2 for 3. He grounded into a double play in his last at bat. He shows the bunt. And that would be the 3rd attempt by the Hurricanes to incorporate some small ball. They led off the game with Colin Cusick on an excellent executed bunt down the third baseline that just died. And Goodson couldn't come up with it clean, and Cusick got Costello from first to second. It was well done. They got stranded in the first, but the Hurricanes now looking like the club that they truly are. 2 balls, no strikes, no outs, and runners first and second. We're in the bottom of the 6th inning. Oh, just over the top of the barrel. Colin Cusick on deck. He's a very aggressive swing and a miss by Costello. He was trying to get that ball through the infield with no cover on it.
Well,
I had to
you
guess.
got a 2-0 count. You know, he's dead red, and it took a dead red hack for sure.
The 3-1. Probably a cutter that gets sliced foul out of play. The payoff now to Costello from Daniel. And he gets plunked. The second for the reliever. And I mentioned in the last at bat, even though Costello hit into a double play on the infield, he stood, and the pitch from Goodson just skimmed. I don't know how it didn't touch his jersey.
Yeah.
But it just skimmed like between his, chest to belly button, and he is as a catcher. I've mentioned of him, and really it stands for all catchers. That don the tools of ignorance, I think is the term, which is really a backhanded compliment. But it takes a different breed for somebody to stay in that position this long into their playing career.
Yeah.
And Teo Costello is just cut from that fabric as a catcher.
Yeah,
He's a terrific player and competitor.
Well, you can tell that hit by pitch is an important statistic for the Hurricanes. I mean, these guys will lean right into one if it's close, without a penalty, of course, and without being illegal. So, any way on the bag is what we always talked about, and these guys are doing a good job.
Now, here's a good question I have, and maybe we can get somebody in the viewing public to share look this up for us. But I'm curious how a pitch clock violation gets carded. I don't know if it's similar to a walk whether it does or doesn't count as an at-bat in your batting average. I have to imagine it's like a no contest type situation if you end up making your way to first on a pitch clock violation.
Yeah, we saw that earlier, and we didn't quite know what had transpired, but obviously it was a pitch clock violation. I would imagine it goes down as a walk, unless they have a statistic of a pitch clock violation. I don't know, but I would imagine it just goes down as a base on balls.
Malachi Costello chiming in early on in the broadcast. Thanks for joining us. Angie Herring and Coach Hines,
That's Tay's brother.
Jacqueline Marlette, Paul Modrak,
He said Malachi Costello.
Ellsworth,
That's Tay's twin brother.
Leah Colbreth, sorry, and Caroline Owens. We have 68 people following along, and Evan Slowinski chiming in. I think he's on the DL, IL, back in the dorm rooms. Caroline Owens. Thank you, everybody, for following along and chiming in on the live chat for today's broadcast. If you're out there, of those 68 people, and you haven't dropped us a note, please let us know where you're watching from, who you're here on behalf. Is it for the Hurricanes? Are you an alum? Are you a former player like Scott Davis is standing next to me here in the booth?
No.
Are you just a
Coming up to
fan
the
of baseball and
number
JUCO baseball at that?
one, the shortstop,
Are you here on behalf of the Patriots?
Colin
And the Patrick and Henry Community College Athletic Department. Let us know. Right now, though, stepping in to the box for his 4th at-bat is Colin Cusick with a single pitch clock violation and another single. And he rips that one into left center field. That's going to be a 2 RBI single for Colin Cusick on a first pitch from Carson Daniel.
Mr. Martin, do you know the name of this guy?
You have to know right there that
Carson
hitter's
Daniel
very
is the
aggressive.
pitcher.
His bases
Carson
loaded when
Daniel.
The pitcher comes in. You know, if I'm on the bump,
Goodson.
I might throw a little wrinkle there just to get him off balance. But he threw a fastball right down the middle, and the kid.
Oh, I take that back. This is English. He's the second reliever. Jess English. So Jess English just gave up a 2 RBI single on the first pitch. No outs, runners first and third. Canes with an 8-run lead as we are in the bottom of the 5th. And Kenny Shadle got hit in the back of the helmet. And it looks like Justin Edwards is going to go out in conference with Bobby Vaughn about whether or not that was a helmet strike or a barrel strike. I think if it was barrel, we would have heard that, typical.
You can
ting.
generally tell by the reaction of the player right off the bat. It skimmed him. It was very difficult to see. I could not see it from my vantage point, and I'm sure the umpire could not see it either. So I would probably say that he's back in the box here instead of no. They let him go.
Yeah, and they're going to say he was hitting the helmet.
Yeah. Impossible to see that. He just basically went on the reaction of the player, which of course you're taught to do. So.
Well, maybe I can talk with Coach Herring about getting a high-speed replay camera, and we can incorporate that in our future broadcasts, and we'll maybe wrangle up one of the players, non-active players, to run that for us.
That's right.
Bring some high-level ESPN type action to the Louisburg College baseball. English steals, and that's a fly ball that's going to reach over Hayden Hester, who is cheating. So Anthony Jones puts up some more, and that's going to be a mercy rule in game 1.
Come on, let's celebrate.
So
They just hit a
the
mercy
first
rule.
mercy rule in favor of the Hurricanes this season as they go 10-zip here in game 1. And we are going to be way ahead of schedule for game 2's broadcast at 4 o'clock. Scott Davis joining me and signing off. Always have to get a quick little copyright read in on behalf of the school.
I really enjoyed it. I appreciate you having me.
It's been fun having you here, Scott, and thanks for giving us your story and filling us in on the history of Louisburg College baseball. This copyrighted telecast presented by the authority of the Louisburg College baseball team may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, while the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of Louisburg College baseball. For Scott Davis and Coach Herring and the entire Louisburg Hurricane baseball organization, I'm Bill Martone saying thank you for tuning in to watch Hurricanes baseball. We'll be back for game 2 shortly.
Thank you very much. I enjoyed that.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. You're always welcome.
I'll tune in. I didn't know you guys were doing this. I'll definitely tune in. I'll go sit and wait for a few minutes.
All right.
Thank you.
Thanks again.
Mm.